Hey, welcome to the 20-Minute Gamer channel. I am your host, Nick, and we're launching a new series here. I want to try and kind of make this work and find a format that makes it work as well. So this is going to be called Heresy, and I mean I know heresy is kind of like talking about things that shouldn't be said and all of that, and I just kind of think it's like a fun little like a fun little satirical way to kind of address what we talk about, right, as far as video games go. So that's where I'm going with this, and that's certainly what I hope that it becomes. So what we're going to start with today is, I guess, a Darktide conversation. Now, Darktide was a really great game. I did like it. I think Darktide had kind of a bad rap, I guess, with how it kind of launched. And I think that caused a lot of problems, especially with the community, because the Darktide community, they are, they're diehards. They are absolutely diehards. And they should be. I mean, Warhammer 40K is a very, very popular, it's just a very, very popular genre, series, fantasy. Oh, Alex, hey, welcome, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. So there's a patch overhaul. There's a class overhaul that's going to be coming to Darktide. And the reason why I think that this is super important is because the game, with its rough start, it needs some help. There was, the game is a year old now. It's a year old, and there are still things, I guess, people will say that are missing from the they're missing from the game. Okay, so what I want to do is, hang on here. I'm just kind of running this from my desktop, so if I shimmy some things out of the way here, just kind of bear with me. Be patient here. All right, I just want to make sure that I have everything that I need. All right. Now, when Darktide launched, I was lucky to be a part of their content creators program. I did have an absolute blast pushing content for the game. I've since voluntarily kind of dropped myself out of that program. I guess I wanted a little bit more out of it. And after all the talks and the discussions in the Discord, I just personally parted ways. I didn't feel like I was getting what I would have liked out of it. And so because of that, I just kind of popped smoke myself. So what they have coming is a complete class overhaul of all of the classes. So veteran, psyker, zealot, and ogren. Give me a second here, everybody. One sec. Sorry. Here we go. All right. So I guess this is what's coming, right? So we have veteran here. It looks like zealot here. This is zealot. All right. This looks like zealot. This is ogren because it's the skull with the chains around it. And then this is psyker. So all of these classes that are coming through, I mean, I think about veteran. I mean, veteran, like, look at this chart. Like, this skill tree is going to be absolutely amazing. This looks like something in the center here that then branches off for additional perks. I mean, I don't know what the leveling is going to be like down the road, but this looks just profound, right? Live service games, they require constant attention from the developers and usually come with, I think, some of the greatest criticism. I think of like Division 2, Darktide, Vermintide 2, Call of Duty, Killing Floor 2 as well. I mean, these are all just kind of great examples of live service games, but all of them, I feel, are constantly under the gun, especially on like Reddit threads, stuff like that, Facebook groups. They're all kind of talking and all asking about when the next content drop will be. I even think about like Aliens Fireteam Elite. I mean, yeah, it was an absolutely great game. And I know that there's a lot of people that still really play it heavily and hail it as, being one of the better Aliens games. And I don't disagree. I think where the biggest complaint comes from in the game is that everything lasted so short, right? It was such a very small window of opportunity to actually enjoy the game elements, right? You had a campaign that you would be able to complete, I think each mission maybe took about 20 or 30 minutes. So you have four main missions, 3 deployments per. I mean, it's something that can be completed in 5 hours, maybe. I mean, if you were an absolute diehard on the game, I mean, you could easily complete that game in a very short window. And then Pathogen came out. Pathogen was really, really good. I did enjoy Pathogen, but once again, 3 missions, 30 minutes each, 40 minutes each. You're looking at an hour and a half's worth of playtime, especially if you're playing with friends. Now, live service games are always better with friends. I think that that's the biggest thing that they bring, is being able to jump into Discord and being able to jump into a crowd of your friends and play with your friends in that way. Okay. They're consistent, right? I mean, live service games are also really consistent. I think that's why people love them and play them so much. But, there's what am I thinking of? There's a quote in Burnt. If any of you have ever seen the movie Burnt with Bradley Cooper. And he says a chef should strive to be consistent in experience, but not in taste, right? And I always thought that that was a great example of how, I always thought that was a great example of how live service games functioned, right? They should be consistent. They should be consistent in the experience that they bring, right? But as far as the taste or maybe the content that's there, it shouldn't be consistent. The content should be always changing. It should be ever changing. I think that that's what people are looking for, especially in Darktide. The 40K community, I mean, they are absolute diehards with this type of content. I mean, I would probably say they're very tantamount to Star Wars and Star Trek fans. I mean, I think Trekkies and Star Wars fans are really, really up there. Maybe that's kind of what has Disney under the thumb so much right now with Star Wars content, is that it from the people that write canonical fan fiction, for them to be writing better canonical fan fiction than Disney, who has a team of writers and access to the canon archive of all archives. I think that's kind of where the issue comes from. So I really hope that this new patch that Darktide drops, I really do hope that it helps them, because we need it. We need it. I mean, these skill trees, I mean, this is for the, this looks like this is for the Zealot, maybe. I think this may be for the Veteran, actually, looking at it because of the grenades. But I mean, this is absolutely amazing. I mean, this is really, really good. And I think that this may draw people back. I mean, it gives you something to play, right? I mean, that's, once you hit level 40 in Division 2, it's all about getting your shade levels, right? And I think that maybe that's what this is missing. It's missing what's next. What's the end game? I don't know. I don't know. That's just kind of my thoughts. So, but we're a year out from Darktide's launch, and I think that it's going to be a better place. I mean, crafting has finally started to kind of rear its head, and these skill tree builds, they look pretty awesome. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Let me know. The next game, I guess I want to talk with, and I don't know how long this live will be. I mean, it really may just be 30 minutes or an hour, 45 minutes. I'm just kind of bringing the topics as I kind of think of them. But the next one that's on my mind is Lamplighters League. And I think that my history on the channel has shown that I'm always able to promote turn-based tactical games. I think turn-based tactical games make amazing 20-minute games. The platform just works really, really well. Struggling because of the writers. Yeah. Eric, I don't agree with you, man. I don't disagree with you is what I mean to say. I think Star Wars definitely, there are so many great stories. And I think that for me personally, looking at Star Wars, I think that where they dropped the ball was after Return of the Jedi. I mean, a few years had passed and they were kind of teasing and talking about doing the Thrawn trilogy, right? Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and then Last Command, right? And those books were really, really good. And apparently they had some scripts even drafted up for Heir to the Empire, and they said, nah, you know what? We're not going to do those. And then when Episode 7, Force Awakens, finally came out, everyone thought that it was just going to be a rebranding of Heir to the Empire series, and it wasn't. And they have so many great ideas, and there are so many things they could do with it. And I just don't think, like I said, though, the problem with Disney is these writers have access to some of the greatest archives that they don't use. And I think that when you don't use the resources that are available to you, that's when things suffer. And I think that the only people that suffer from it are the people who are passionate and the people who love that kind of stuff, you know? So, but your second comment about the patch, I think this patch for Darktide is going to be awesome. I don't know if there's enough. I want to see what the skill trees look like. The little trailer. I think what is also kind of interesting here is, who doesn't, the Ogryn's, I don't know, the Ogryn's skill tree. I don't know. Does it look like it's, hang on here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull it up on DaVinci. I can micromanage what happens in here better. So, excuse me. I mean, Ogryn's skill tree. I mean, whose skill tree looks, this is veteran. The veteran skill tree is on the far left. The Zealot skill tree is second. Ogryn is third, and Psyker is fourth. I mean, they all look pretty balanced, I guess. You know, this dissolve, this smoky dissolve it kind of distracts from being able to really see what's what, but I think that they all look really balanced, all things considered. So I don't know. I don't think that anyone's going to be missing out. When I initially looked at it, when I initially saw it, I think it was the Ogryn that kind of caught my eye. I thought it looked a little weak, but you know, when I slow things down and look at it back and forth, it doesn't look like it's kind of missing out on anything. If anything, the Zealot looks a little bit more weak. This one here on the second one in looks a little bit more trim, but I don't know. Moving on though to Lamplighters League. This, when I first saw this game, I fell in love with it because of the fact that it was like Indiana Jones. Now it takes place in like 1930s, 1932, I think is what they say in the trailer. And I'll kind of push both of the trailers that they've kind of released for it as well. But what I really, really like about turn-based tactical games is there's usually not a lot of control from the developer side on how you operate, right? You know, I mean, XCOM, you know, you could literally just drop into the deployment and you can save right away and quit. You know, I mean, that's great. If you're a family man like myself, I really lean towards games where I'm able to jump in, and if I need to, I can either pause it. Believe it or not, actually, I just finished the Montero level in Aliens Dark Descent this morning, and I left it up all night long because I was trying to play it a little bit last night, and my kid wound up falling asleep, and I wasn't able to get back to it. And so I have played games where you just can't leave the game running like that, you know? And what I love about turn-based tactical games is they're a very comfortable game for the gamer, right? You have more control on your end about how you play the game. You can usually save in the middle of your missions and you know, and all sorts of stuff like that. Okay. I mean, there's things that you can do that, I mean, conversely, like in Aliens Dark Descent, unfortunately, I can't just save and quit. If I save, I'm burning a tool and I may not have any tools. I may not have the resources that I need to save at the moment. And if I quit, then I may be losing, you know, 5 or 10 minutes worth of playtime, right? But Lamplighters League just looks awesome. Looking into the characters here. Well, you know what? Let me go ahead and drop the trailer here first real quick. I guess let's look at that real quick.
The world you think you live in doesn't exist. It's a pantomime. Theater. And if you get a glimpse behind the scenery, the stagecraft, you'll discover nothing but darkness. And once perceived, it will swallow you whole. I'm in a race against this darkness. A race to locate an ancient ruin, a tower of unspeakable power. I need the best of the best. But they're all dead. So I'll use you. Scoundrels, thieves, cutthroats, the best of the worst. Oh, come now. Try not to look so glum. You're going to help me save the world.
All right, so that's kind of the release date reveal of Lamplighters League. So right out of the gate, you have a limited number of characters. All right. You don't just, if we could explore all the agents, you don't just have, like an XCOM, right? I can have 20 soldiers and I can just kind of make them out however I want. You're going to have a team similar to like, Jagged Edge. All right. So you're going to have a team and you build your team based on the type of mission that you want to run. I mean, so like Eddie's a saboteur. He's going to be kind of one of your, for the most part, it looks like he's going to be like a gunner, like a shooter. Ingrid, she's a bruiser. So she's a bare knuckle brawler. Then you've got Latif. He's like a sneakable person. So with these being recruitable agents, this tells me maybe that Eddie, Ingrid, and Latif are who you start with. And then as far as recruitable agents go, you wind up getting a couple of others. Okay. So you get Alexandrite, you get Judith. Judith is another bruiser. I mean, so she's going to be a little bit of a tank from my perspective. PS5, no PS5. Man, I'm sorry. You know, what's funny. Like, it's crazy. Like there are so many PlayStation games that I want to play that I'll never be able to play because they're so exclusive. And then at the same time, you always feel bad when a game comes out on PC or Xbox or whatever that they're not cross-platform. It always kind of sucks, you know, but, unfortunately it just means you're going to have to tune in. You're going to have to tune in and actually enjoy the game with me while we play it. But being able, and this looks interesting too. So she's a sneak, kind of role with a rifle. So she must be like the sniper, but, well, expert sniper. It says so right there. I'm an idiot. But it looks like a really interesting title. You know, it looks like the kind of game that they are going to pour a lot of love into the story with. They're going to take care just to not brutalize the genre, right? I think that a lot of turn-based tactical games can get grindy is not the word I'm looking for, but they can get very repetitive, I think. And so, and not repetitive in a good way, you know. This doesn't at least look like it's going to be hyper repetitive because you are going to have all the different people. Now there is a gameplay first look as well I want to look at with all of you. It looks awesome. And this is kind of what has me really excited about the title. So let me go ahead and drop this one here for you.
We're Harebrained Schemes. You may know us from our other games, the Shadowrun Trilogy and Battletech. Our new game is called the Lamplighters League and the Tower at the End of the World.
It's 1932, and a secret occult war is nearly lost. The forces of evil are so close to victory, claiming the very source of magic itself. The best of the best are all dead, so you'll need the best of the worst. Thieves, scoundrels, cutthroats, and traitors to stop them.
Just like our other games, the Lamplighters League features turn-based tactical combat.
But unlike our other games, this one adds a real-time infiltration phase.
In real time, you'll scout the enemy, exploit the position, before deciding that things are going to get loud.
I like lowering the risk. So I'll go around and I'll pick off key enemies that I don't want in my fight. So I get to pick and choose how I engage.
You can just steamroll your way down one way or increase your options. It kind of really depends on how you want to play.
You never seem to run out of like the depth of choice, right? And it's constantly surprising.
And even when things look really dire, you can like snatch victory from defeat. You can also snatch defeat from victory, but like, you know.
I do think one of my favorite things about the gameplay is that combinatory factor, is finding those combinations, not just of characters bouncing off of each other, but how can I use the environment? What combination is best for this mission compared to another mission?
I really, really appreciate the focus on story and the focus on character. And the ability to kind of see these people change and grow over the course of the game.
I like the mix of a problem to solve to keep these characters alive while I grow more attached to them every mission. They're very human and they don't come together without friction, so it's pleasant to watch them interact with each other as they try and get out of tough scrapes.
Yeah, we made it so that they all have things to say to each other, both on and off the field. You know, we really tried to make them as much of a team, a reluctant team at first, but a team as possible.
Everyone here are the best of the worst, so to speak. They are rogues. These are not the people you look to save the world. It is about them doing what they have to do to survive and doing what they have to do to really just get ahead.
When you play and you try different characters, you know, I've said it before, but it's kind of a new experience every time.
Yeah, you know, so like the more that I look at it, the more that I look at the title, I actually see a lot of like have you heard of a game called Hard West? Hard West is I mean it's a western game, okay? I'll throw subtitles on for you just cuz I've got this muted. But you know, with Hard West, I mean you have a specific team, and if that team doesn't make it, I mean, a lot of times the mission comes to a close, like it's over, you know, so there is only going to be the ability to complete the mission with your team or not. What really interested me about this particular title was when they said that there are, I mean, multiple different ways to complete the mission. You know, you can use a sniper or someone sneaky to kind of go around the entire map and knock out the snipers, kind of level the playing field. And then you can kind of, to use the guy's words, you can kind of steamroll the map with your brawlers and shooters. But I like that ability. You know, when I think about times when I've had the upper hand, for example, I've had the upper hand in like XCOM 2, and you come across those sectoids. I mean, the ability to actually go through the game and to go through a map and maybe take out all of the Vipers or all the Advent commanders or sectoids in XCOM 2 would be really awesome, and actually not get detected, and just not having that ability can make XCOM 2 a little less enjoyable, right? This sounds awesome. This sounds absolutely awesome. I don't know. I don't know what all your thoughts are on these types of games. I love turn-based tactical games. Turn-based games like this, just they really kind of speak my language. I don't have much else today. You know, it's the first stream of Heresy. I want to get out there and I want to start talking about new titles that are coming forward and bringing forth the details of those games so that people can kind of see what they're about, right? I don't want to be limited to just what I'm able to pre-record. There are going to be things that come down the pipe that I want to make sure that I jump on right away, and that's going to result in a lot of impromptu live streams and stuff like that. But what I want to do with Heresy is I want to bring games that are on the docket that I'm potentially interested in myself. Maybe they're games that I'm not interested in, or take that back. They're games that I'm interested in, but maybe I know I'm not going to be able to play them. Like Starfield. I really, really love how Starfield looks. I think Starfield looks like a great game. I don't think that it's ever going to make my channel. I just don't think that I'm going to have the resources available to me to be able to play that game. There are so many other games that I'm interested in. Starfield is the kind of game similar to Diablo, right? Where there is so much going on and the market is going to be so saturated with those titles. At 1,000 subscribers, even though those voices are loud, I'm just going to get lost in the mix. And I don't know if I'm going to have a loud enough voice with everything else that's going on. In fact, I think that was one of the biggest issues in Star Wars Jedi Survivor was I really wanted to bring forward a lot of content for that game. But when I started streaming it and when I started playing it, it became very obvious that everyone was playing that game. Everyone was playing that game, and I just got lost in the noise. So I'm really kind of trying to pick the titles that I think are winners that maybe a lot of people are sleeping on. This is awesome right here. This is fantastic. You could never do something like that in XCOM. That would not fly. So I think that's why I'm really excited about this. I mean, it's not just... It doesn't just look like a turn-based game. This just looks like a really beautiful, and I love the whole 1930s, like pre-Nazi era Indiana Jones vibe. Like, I absolutely love it. It's kind of like a non-super powered, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, like that's kind of how it's been branded in my own mind. And I think that that's what has me so excited about this. I love games that, from my perception anyway, obviously there's no beta, there's nothing out here for this that I've played at all, or other than these pockets of dev blogs, right? I mean, I'm watching all of this in real time, but I don't know that it's going to be a 20-minute game. I'm not going to know until I actually get there, right? Like, I'm going to have to buy it and invest the time in it and actually jump into the game and see how it plays. But it just looks like a really interesting title. I don't know how else to phrase it. It looks awesome. It looks like, like everybody looks like the super soldiers from a Red Skull's army in Captain America: First Avenger. So there's just, I don't know, like there's just like a lot of like hidden nostalgia in the game art for me, and that also really kind of brings me into it as well. So but listen, that's all I've got for today. I just kind of wanted to talk about the Darktide patch that's coming, and kind of get everyone's thoughts and feedback on the new trees that are getting released on October 4th is when it's coming, and unfortunately, so this is getting released on like October 3rd. So one day before the patch for Darktide, we're going to have to grind as much as we possibly can into this title. But I will see you all in the next one. I appreciate you all joining me today. These are going to get longer. I think a 30-minute for the first one is kind of just what I wanted to do. I kind of wanted to get the feel for the whole live element. I don't do a lot of this, right? It's a little bit of a different monster doing a live stream to cover content that you want to cover, right? Versus like doing a live stream where you're playing a game and interacting with people that way. So little